Good afternoon and welcome to NYFP. In midday and midweek trade, the major U.S. stock averages are back higher. Joining me this afternoon is Gregory Keating of James C. Coffey Securities. Good afternoon and thanks for joining me.
Good afternoon. Good to be here.
Well, we are seeing the rally continue on Wall Street. Fed Chairman Bernanke's testimony before the Joint Economic Committee has concluded. So we are seeing the reaction to Bernanke's speech. But I do want to get your take on what we heard from him. So what do you make regarding the Fed's possible exit?
Well, I think going into this, congressional appearance by the chairman here, I think there was some kind of speculation that we might see a tapering off. I think the market really reacted positively right around 10 o'clock when the notes came out. Basically, it was a kind of a, basically saying, you know what, it's going to be the same thing as we've seen. The Fed is obviously, monetary policy has given a lot of benefit to the economy, and that tapering off would bring some dramatic downside risk.
And in addition, we'll continue to keep an eye on economic data releases. But before we move on to anything else, existing home sales didn't get too much attention this morning, given that Bernanke began speaking at the same time. But what do you make of the latest housing figures? Yeah,
I think it came in a little bit lower than expected, but revised the previous months up. I think, like you said, it got overshadowed by the chairman speaking this morning. And I think everybody was kind of looking. It's not really a short week, but Friday almost doesn't count. It's going to be expected to be very slow in front of the long weekend. But the focus has been on Ben Bernanke's speech in front of Congress here. We do get some more housing data tomorrow in the new home sales, but I really think today was going to be if the market was going to move and we were going to see some elevated volumes, that today was going to be the day.
Well, it's been a busy week so far in terms of a focus on Washington, D.C. We had Tim Cook speaking yesterday in D.C., and today we have Bernanke, but we still have the Fed minutes coming out later on today. What do you think the market reaction will be to those minutes?
I think a lot like the housing data we got today, not a lot is going to be paid attention to it, particularly because it was from the May 1st Fed meeting. May 3rd, we got that real good positive jobs report. So I think a lot of that, those thinking and the notes from those meetings really doesn't have much context in the market today.
And Greg, as you mentioned, we did see some fluctuation in the equity averages earlier on this morning, but right now the Dow is back up, seeing a triple-digit gain. Now, given that we continue to see these elevated levels, what levels are you watching? Yeah,
I think uncharted territory here. S&P up, that 1680 level. I think a lot of if you look at technical levels, what are we looking for as a support? Any kind of 2 to 3% pullback, you see buyers coming in. So it seems that the market is very strong, and today, just to get a confirmation that the Fed policy will be in place for the near term, the market should be continue to ratchet up higher.
And last but not least, before we wrap it up, because Ben Bernanke mentioned the upcoming Fed minutes, that also made me think about the upcoming meetings that will be coming up. What can we expect in terms of market action during the summer months?
Yeah, I think, just like the chairman said, you got to keep an eye on the economic data, right? That's going to affect when this tapering off is going to be. So I think the speeches, that we hear coming up this summer, a lot of that is going to be driven based on the economic data that we're seeing. The jobs report that we got last time was very, very good. Almost that Goldilocks type scenario where it was very good numbers, but at the same time, payrolls and the average work week came in a little bit, so it wasn't tremendous, so there was still a need for the easing policies that are in place now, but a lot of that is going to be focused on the domestic economic numbers that are coming out.
Okay, Greg, well, thank you so much for joining me in Midweek Trade, and thank you so much for your insight as always.
Thanks, good to be